Origin and Future of Planet Earth. I would speak with you now of the origin and history of your planet, our Holy Mother, the Earth, and how the planets came to be. In the beginning, before ever there was even the thought of time, there was thought. There was an awareness, a presence, if you will, of creative isness extending itself. And there was a thought to bring forth expression of the creative energy, for energy cannot be contained. The energy of the isness of you cannot and never will be contained within any sphere of any reality, small r. The reality, capital R, of you is ever expanding. The one mind is ever expanding, ever expressing and experiencing. There was thought to bring forth light, and from that light to bring forth form out of light, to coalesce light into form. And from that one instant outside of time, because it was not thought to have time at that point, there was form brought together as the energy, brought together into form which coalesced in what you now still see in your heavens as various constellations, the galaxies and various bodies of energy in which you've lived, in which you knew your existence, in which you knew you were the energy of thought. Now I speak here as it would be in linear fashion of a past time, and yet there was not thought of time yet at that point. There was only thought of creation. Time, the understanding of time, came later. So even as your scientists now will measure the light from the galaxies that are far away, it is measured in light years, and it is measured in linear time. But in truth, what you brought forth is even older than what your scientists are telling you now, or can tell you now, because your scientists are yet circumscribed by the concept of the sphere of time. They do very well with it, taking you to the very edge of the sphere of time, but to go beyond that, it is a bit like your explorers who at first thought that Earth was flat, and if they went beyond a certain point of the horizon, you would fall off. Your scientists are yet working with concepts within the understanding of time, and yet they are making breakthroughs to understand that thought and the energy of thought does not need to, and in truth, cannot be contained even within time. So in what you would see to be eons and eons of time ago, you lived and moved and had your being in the farthest galaxies of the universe. You knew yourself to be creative. You knew yourself to be the flow of thought and of energy. As you experienced various forms of stellar bodies, you knew yourself to be even the sun. You were the activity and the energy, and still are, of the sun and of each star. You knew yourself to be the extension of energy that went beyond the sun or that star, very expansive, no limitations. You played with that for what you now understand to be eons of time until there was a thought. Let us see what else we can create. And then there were more of the galaxies created within the vast universe which is still expanding. You played on your way to the solar system. You played in other star constellations, the Pleiades, Sirius, Arcturus, and others as well, many different ones where you have known the experience and expression of holy isness, creative isness, places where you brought forth great civilizations as you would now, in a broad term, look at civilizations. And you brought forth technology as you would have again the broad understanding of technology. It was not exactly what you have now. You brought forth the spaceships to travel, and not the slow ones that you understand now. You would go with the speed of thought faster than the speed of light. You are the explorers. You are the ones who want to know the farthest frontiers. And when you get to whenever would seem to be a frontier, well, it is the idea of the earth being flat, so that you might fall off the edge of the horizon. You find that when you get to the horizon, there is another horizon beyond, etc. So the explorers that you are, you keep creating. Why? For the sheer joy of it, because you want to create. You want to experience and express the divinity of you. You want to know the power of your divinity, not the power of the world. You have played with that many times. But the power that is now coming even in the collective consciousness, the power of divinity, the power of thought, the power of going beyond what ones have said the box has to be. So now when you go out and you look into your heavens, you see the light of stars and constellations where in truth you did and are having expression even now. For as your scientists will tell you about the light years that it takes for the light to come from a certain other solar system or another constellation, know you that you were standing upon some of the energy bodies even in that time. And now you are looking at yourself standing here, looking back at the self. It is a thought that allows the mind to expand a bit. So as you wanted to, and as is your nature to be expansive, you kept expanding the universe itself. In working with the creative energy, there were times when you wanted to bring forth something new, and you did what was known as the involution of energy, the black holes they are called, where you would bring in a lot of the energy into quite dense form to then create anew, because it is a part of what you want to prove to yourself, the one mind, how expansive, how creative you can be. You have played with the various constellations and on the planets of the various constellations. You have played within this solar system on other planetary bodies. At first you began with being the sun, the energy of the star being within the sun itself, knowing the consciousness of the energy of the star. From that there was expansion to create other bodies of form upon which you could play, making what you call now the planets, the different ones that encircle the sun, and the solar energy which is still you. You are still within your sun, your star, but you are also, vast creative being that you are, having a focus of attention on this lifetime, where you walk upon the surface of this planet. Now, when this planet was first formed, you lived within this planet. You were within it. It was within you, and you lived within it as consciousness. Then there was thought to see. What else could there be? And ones would characterize this as then coming up to the surface. It was not so much that you physically came up to the surface as it was the consciousness expanded to take in all that you were creating. And the planet, as you've understood it, has undergone many changes. You have played on the other planets of this solar system as well, for you are not content, wander that you are, to play on just one planet. We have spoken in other times of the planet Maldek, and how you played out a most wonderful civilization and drama with advanced technology, to the place where there was an explosion of the planet itself into what you now have as an asteroid belt, the pieces of drifting physical forms of energy. Some of the energy from the planet Maldek went to another planet known as Jupiter and became part of the mass of Jupiter. Also, it became some of the moons of Jupiter. The physical energy also went to become some of the rings of Saturn and also some of the mass of Saturn. Those two planets especially are much larger. That is because they absorbed some of the energy from Maldek. The planet you call Mars is now being the object of investigation as whether or not there was ever life on Mars. Of course there was. Were you there? Yes, you were there. You have in your history an occurrence which has been known as the Ice Age, of which there have been many, where there is much of ice upon the earth. At the time of the explosion of Maldek, the rippling effect of that energy evaporated most of the surface water on Mars, and it sent outward. There is still water on Mars, but much of the water on the surface came to Earth in the extended heat of the explosion, melting some of the ice on Earth and adding the amount of water on the Earth. Our Holy Mother, the Earth, did not always have as much water as she does now. Land masses change here and on Mars. As you have known lifetimes upon other planets of other solar systems and other constellations, you have come to this planet as star seeds. Even from Maldek and Mars you have brought with you remembrance and cultural influence. We have spoken previously that as star seeds, you were in the process of blending many cultural beliefs and systems of belief into a harmonious whole, that which I have called the atonement, the awakening as one. Many of you are going to return to some of the other constellations when you feel a call. You will spend what is seen now in your linear time to be several more lifetimes, perhaps on this planet, because you have agreed that you will bring your light here, and that you will bring the expanded understanding of how this planet came to be and what it is for. But in what you see to be, again, linear time, in the future, many of you are going to feel a call to return to the stargates. Now, we have spoken of the stargates previously, how they have been closed and how they are now opening. They are closed at the time of the destruction of Maldek because it was felt by the Council of One that the collective consciousness in the solar system was too focused upon its very small self, and how the divine power of creativity could be used in a way that was not beneficial or harmonious with the other constellations, so that the stargates were temporarily closed to communication until this collective consciousness matured a bit. You are now coming to a place where the stargates are opening, where there can be and is communication with other constellations, with other intelligence from other constellations and other forms of life. Your astroscientists have recently identified a planet in the constellation Leo which does sustain life. There is now an expansion that the collective conscious has agreed to experience. So the stargates are opening, and with the opening is coming right now a trickle, but it will become a flood later on, of information, remembrance of where you have been and how you have been. This planet, our holy Mother Earth, will continue to be for what you see a long, long time, because she has volunteered to be a part of the divine energy, to serve as a place where ones can play in what I have likened unto the sandbox, where ones can play in the sandbox harmoniously with each other or not. There is always choice, but there will come a time when the purpose of the planet will be fulfilled, when the thought energy will be withdrawn from it, and it will be allowed to become part of the light of the whole of the cosmos, free-flowing as it was before it was formed. Now, it is not something that you have to sit here in this day and time and contemplate and wonder, when it is going to happen? Am I going to be here? Do I need to dig my shelter somewhere in the ground? And if I do, have I found a sacred spot? As I have said, many of you will not be here at that time, because you will have taken your individuated energy to be with ones in other constellations once again where you have known joy and companionship. You have experienced many lifetimes, and much in this lifetime, of being away from home, not only the home of the Father, the kingdom of the Father, but being away from home where the family was, where the friends were, the companions with whom you journeyed, created new oneness together. You have wanted to return. You have looked to your heavens, and you have wondered, what is up there? Why do I feel drawn to a certain star? There is a resonance that you feel, even a homesickness, a feeling of, I think I've been part of that. And then there is a knowing that, yes, I have been part of that. Explorers that you are, adventurers that you are, creative ones that you are, you will be forever seeking new frontiers and bringing forth new galaxies. Even as we speak, you are bringing forth the birth of new stars. You are bringing the involution of the energy of the dark holes, for there are many right now of the so-called black holes where the energy is being drawn in upon itself in order to become dense enough to explode once again as light particles into new stars, new galaxies, new frontiers. Will you want to experience what those new frontiers feel like? Of course you will. That is why you have the courage in this day and time to allow the imagination to expand upon the isness and the concept of isness. Your scientists are beginning to understand. They have questioned the size and nature of the universe. Even if it is infinite, they say, it still has to be finite. There must be an edge. There is no edge because you are pushing the edges all the time. The cosmos is expanding. The universe is expanding and will continue to expand. That which you are complete with, that which fulfills its purpose, will go back into thought energy and be reborn again, much as you have the seasons of your time, where you have the seasons of the quiet time. And then there is a spring where the newness of life comes forth and matures and ages and ripens as great fruit to bring forth civilizations that are in awareness of all that they are, all that they can be. And then there is a time when that fruit is harvested, made over into new form in the quiet time to bring forth new life again, forever expanding. Beyond even the most wonderful concept that you have of time, there is much of awareness, expression, and experience that is outside the sphere of time. That is not to naysay the value of time. There is much value in time itself, but there is within what you see as the allness of you, the concept of time, and the sphere of time is but a small percentage. That is how vast, how wonderful you are. Having said that, I will let you contemplate for a while.